second year here at Cal Poly, and just to give a little background about myself, I'm a nutrition major, so obviously health and like fitness is something that I'm really passionate about, and specifically speaking to the public and trying to inform others of different methods of or just different ways of optimizing your health. And I've discovered this quote recently that kind of impacts, the doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but rather will cure and prevent disease with nutrition. And that was said by Thomas Edison. So that's just kind of like basically a reason why I'm a nutrition major. So specifically today I'm going to be talking about vegetarianism. And just to give a brief history of vegetarianism, the first appearance of the vegetarian ideals began in ancient times, where Greek and Roman philosophers believed that it was morally wrong to eat animals, not specifically feeling bad for the animals, but more just odd reasons why they believe that humans somehow will be like reincarnated into animals, so it's kind of this other ideal. But so then vegetarian also became widespread with religion in India, with Buddhism, and then also with Charles Darwin, with his theory that we evolved from humans. Vegetarianism also became a trend after that theory. And also in the 1960s and 70s, with the hippie era, it also became something prevalent due to environmental, ethical, and political reasons. And currently today, you guys might see a trend again of vegetarianism or veganism. So just to quickly define different types of vegetarians, there's some that completely abstain from eating meat and any animal products. They're called vegans, and there's also many different types where some people eat eggs and dairy still, or completely don't eat dairy, or yeah. So there are many reasons why people choose to become vegetarian. For example, environmental concerns, animal rights, weight loss, and safety, food safety. My main claim today is that adopting a vegetarian diet is overall healthy and beneficial to the human health. My first supporting claim is that vegetarian diet reduces obesity, and a healthy vegetarian diet emphasizes on a variety of plant-based foods that tend to and also tend to consume less cholesterol and saturated fats. And although vegetarians do not eat meat, that does not necessarily mean that they are healthy. Many vegetarians can still have a diet high in fat, refined sugars, but having a well-planned diet can help prevent from becoming obese. It is well known that obesity is a big issue that prevails today in the United States and globally. And there are many factors that can contribute to obesity, and it's not an easy disorder that can be combated. It gets more complicating than just losing weight and cutting back or exercising. Attempts need to be made in order to prevent obesity. Vegetarianism is a valid method. According to Jane Hart, some studies have shown that vegetarians weigh less and have lower body mass index compared to non-vegetarians. And based off of research, it has shown that when people who have adopted diets with less fat and meat have lost a modest amount of weight. Vegetarians typically do not consume too many calories from fat because they have a strong emphasis on eating fruits and vegetables. Fat is an essential nutrient to the body. However, an excess amount of fat can cause damage. Fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans and nuts have been shown tend to be lower in calories than animal and dairy products. According to Ella Haddad, only self-defined vegetarians who reposted eating no meat had significantly higher intakes of cereals, pastas, rice, vegetables, dark green vegetables, dried fruit, and other fruit. This information was based off of her research that tested that the diet between meat eaters and vegetarians. So basically, hamburgers, steak, and ice cream are widely known to be high in calories, whereas fruits and vegetables have lower calories. So overall, since the vegetarians don't focus a lot of their diet on eating fats that are common in milk and animal products, they tend to focus more on what optimizes their health, which is plant-based foods. Vegetarians have lower rates of mortality from chronic disease, is my second claim. Vegetarians have shown to consume more plant-based foods than non-vegetarians. It has been proven that eating plant-based alter the risk of chronic diseases. According to Xandra COF, vegetarians may be at lower risk of dying from diabetes than non-vegetarians. The vegetarian diet helps with diabetes management and benefits their diets in ways such as lowering their HDL levels. So, non-meat diets have been shown to reduce obesity. Overall, people who are vegetarian have lower rates of diabetes. According to Rajaram's peer-reviewed article, deaths from cancer are considerably lower in vegetarian men and women than non-vegetarians. Fruits, legumes, and vegetables have shown to have benefits to the digestive system, as well as phytochemicals and antioxidants that can potentially reduce risk of cancers. Regular meat consumption in particular has been directly correlated with colorectal cancer. So there isn't any definite answer that specifically eating meat can cause cancer, but it has been shown that not consuming it as much can help with avoiding the risks. Despite drawbacks, this is my final claim. Despite drawbacks, the vegetarian diet can meet all the nutrient requirements when appropriately planned. So, just because one chooses to not eat meat and dairy doesn't necessarily mean that they know enough information about what nutrients our body needs in order to function properly and to avoid from deficiencies. A vegetarian diet isn't easy. There should be a lot of research in order to ensure nutrient adequacy to avoid any deficiencies. It is most commonly perceived that vegetarians lack protein and calcium in their diet because they do not consume meat or dairy. According to ChooseMyPlate.gov, protein has many important functions in the body and is essential for growth and maintenance. Protein requirements can easily be met by different types of beans, lentils, and nuts, soy products, and various vegetables. Good sources of calcium, excluding dairy, can be found in collard greens, soy products, calcium. So overall, although there can be risks of these deficiencies, there's always some way of substituting it and meeting that requirement. So just because they don't consume as much protein as someone that has a diet high in meat doesn't mean that they can be healthy. So with supplementation, vegetarians can obtain vitamin B12, which is only found in animal products. According to Paul Insel, vegetarians who eat either meat nor dairy products are at risk for vitamin B12 deficiency unless they take vitamin B12 supplements. And vitamin B12 is a vitamin that is only found in meat. So by supplementing vitamin B12, the risk of a deficiency isn't likely. And to conclude my speech, vegetarianism has proven to have many benefits when compared to a non-vegetarian diet. With careful planning and research, anyone can be healthy from adopting this lifestyle.
All right, Xandra, Information about your credibility is fine. It needs to be a little bit quicker. There's a lot of background information that you present. It takes you more than 2 minutes to get to the proposition. In fact, it's at 2:38 that you finally get to the proposition. So that's a little bit late in the process. And even then, the proposition's not very clearly stated. We know what the topic is, but you need to be a little bit more forceful in making a declarative sentence here. There is not a preview of what the supporting points are going to be, and so as I'm listening, I have to listen very carefully to be able to pick out the different issues that you're talking about. And good listeners will do that, but remember, audiences don't necessarily listen the way we want them to. Sometimes you have to kind of lead them around and tell them where you're going so that they'll hear the arguments that you're making, and I think that you missed that opportunity by not having a preview there. You did signpost the secondary points. I heard distinct labels on the second and the third point, although they come late in the process. The second point, for instance, you label it when you were 5 minutes and 47 seconds into the speech, and the third point started when you were already 1 minute and 40 seconds over time. So, like I said, you need to do some editing in the beginning of the speech and cut down and get to the essentials. You know, it's pretty straightforward. You're just saying a vegetarian lifestyle is beneficial to human health. You know, and that it's, you know, the first one it is that it will help us reduce our obesity. The second one is it'll reduce our mortality. And the third one is it's something that's practical for us to do. It's not that complicated. Just, you know, you got to be direct when you're speaking. I think you've got an essay here more than a speech. And so you're going to have to change. You know, you have to adopt a little bit for oral communication issues. I did think that you had a good amount of information in the presentation. You cited your sources pretty consistently. There was a lot of expert testimony. I think some statistical data could be a little bit more involved. You know, you made a reference at one point to the reduced calories on that first point. But that, like I said, that's also coming late in the presentation. The first quote I got on that was really applicable to the argument, other than the Edison quote that you're using in the introduction, comes 4 minutes into the speech. Seems like I was timing everything here. Sorry about that, but it's just I was noticing how full it was at the beginning. I think you do a nice job presenting the argument, but obviously time is an issue too. I got to stop so that we have time to hear.